a certain line from a writer called June Jordan, who wrote an amazing book of essays called Civil Wars. And for at least 5 or 6 years now, my motto has been, I am not sure any longer that there is a difference between writing and living. And I've recently written about this, actually. It's in the Poetry Review. I like this because it's so ambivalent. It's got something about an aporia about it. So an aporia is a never-ending problem. So, for example, all cretins are liars. That's going to be a problem forever. It's just going to go on ad infinitum. And I don't know, I find it kind of maybe somewhat perverse and also playful to have something that is kind of unfinished and ambivalent as a personal motto. Probably mother, if I'm honest. A bit Freudian, but because I think my relationship to parents, to my own parents, to my own biology, anatomy, my own history is, I think I have a lot of questions about it. And I think motherhood is one of those areas that it's not closed to me, but it feels very distant, very strange. Obviously, biological clock and also gender, and I write a lot about mothers, actually. I write a lot about birthing and things being unborn, things being reborn. Yeah, I think mother is probably my favourite. It's really interesting you asked that, because my definition of love is very vague right now. But I would say it's a combination of things, and it's to do with care and to do with joyful labour. And it's something other than kind of romantic feelings. I would say it's actually responsibility and a willingness to accept and understand someone unconditionally. And I know that sounds slightly cheesy, but I think it's a really, I think it's a bit like art, actually. God, so many things have changed my life, man, like, so many things. I was in New York when I was a teenager, when I was around 19, and I think some of the things that happened there, some of the people I met there, really changed my politics and my understanding of the world in a way that I think I'm only starting to recognize and understand now. I think it's possible to meet people when you're, well, at any point in your life, really, but you don't know what the meaning is until 10, 20, 30 years later. I think I'm just starting to see the meaning of some of the people I met there. Oh, rent, you know, money, Brexit, the government, the rise of fascism in Europe, all of those problems, I think. Those are my big problems. Digital security. I mean, if you mean personal problems, then it's always the question of writing and work, and how you can bring yourself fully to whatever it is you're doing. But, you know, it's funny, increasingly, it's not that I think questions of gender and race on a personal level are unimportant, but they pale in comparison, I think, to some of the bigger economic, technological, sort of political and societal questions that sometimes I think the communities I'm in, we tend not to kind of pay so much attention to that. And increasingly I'm trying to pay more attention to those problems. Yeah. I quite like a saying or a quotation from Charles Baudelaire. It's a bit of a weird person to be quoting right now, but I'm just going to say it because it's come into my mind. And it is good to teach the world's fortunate, if only to shame their pride for an instant, as there are higher forms of happiness than theirs, on a grander scale and more delicate. This is another quotation that has kind of followed me for a really long time. I probably read that first when I was about 16 or 17, and I just love that phrase, on a grander scale and more delicate. I think it's a really good lens for understanding oneself, your work as a poet and as a writer, but also I think your mission or my mission even as a writer, and kind of why I'm here, if you know what I mean, like the work I'm trying to do on a grander scale and more delicate.